So to refine our elevator pit walls below, let's zoom in, let's hone in on just an area because we got to do some modeling there because we have an elevator pit to model, and we also need to refine the tops of those walls, okay? So let me orbit under, and let me hover over one of those elevator pit walls, and I'm gonna hit tab and click. I got just those 4 walls selected, right? And then on the contextual tab that pops up, remember, Revit's communicating, under the Modify Walls tab in the View panel, there's this little cool selection box tool. That takes, you can see in the preview, that takes the section box and it shrinks it just around the elements that you highlighted. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see what it did to my section box. I can actually hover over it. I can click on it. I can pull it out and up and down, etc. It's a really nifty tool, especially if someone is over your shoulder and you have to walk them through the model. You can do anything you want. You can do it in level 1 and select it, and it'll take you to the right spot. So really cool tool to get the habit of using. Now, if you want to remove the section box from your view, you want this default in the view properties, just go ahead and look for section box and uncheck it, and it just goes away. All right. So let's do that. Let's do that task, that little workflow again. We hover, tab, click. We have a keyboard shortcut for selection box, SB. And you can see it's turned on. I can see it. It's turned on. So if I wanted to turn off, VG, annotation categories, and let's look for section boxes. I do not want them right now. I just want my model, okay? Now, you can see that our walls are going to the top of the floor. So now let's refine. So let's hover over one elevator pit wall. Let me orbit to the bottom. I like orbiting, it's great. Hover, tab, click. And now on your ribbon, select the Modify Wall panel, attach top base. And the default is top. Go ahead and select your slab on grade. Boom. You can see that it brought it down. And now that we're here at this like looking under angle, let's model our floor, our elevator pit floor, okay? So now let's go to structure, floor, structural floor. Takes us into sketch mode and it gives us our last default. Now update your type, duplicate it if you need to. So edit type. Do I got an elevator pit? I do not. Let's just, it could be whatever we need it to be. 18 sounds more proportional. All right. Okay. Remember the default. Pick walls. So I'm going to hover over a wall and I hit tab. So hover, tab, click. Right? Now, before we get trigger happy, let's look at our options. We know what the offset is, -5. Okay. But before we hit finish, let's just look around. Let's see if those lines represent the true edge of our elevator pit. Click on a line. Now orbit, go ahead and hit shift and your scroll button. Let's just look at it. Well, that's not right. That's going to the inside of the wall. That's fine. You can just flip all of them here. All right, so we're looking around. It looks golden. And now let's hit green check box saying we're good. Now this dialog box comes up again. Do not get trigger happy here. It's always best to do a couple extra steps just to make sure it's right. So go ahead and hit don't attach because everything is good here so far. If you want to go through and attach the base of these elevator pit walls to the elevator pit, by all means, I'm a fan of it. So let me do a -6 there. Oh, it disappeared because of our section box. -5.5 feet. I should see a sliver. There it is. And now I can hover, tab, click, and now I can attach the base of that wall to this elevator pit. And I only changed the offset of the elevator pit just because I wanted to see my walls actually attached. So this is really just going to go back to -5, right? But it's just good visual cues, you know, just to make sure that you're not, you know, that your eyes are not deceiving you. Okay, but we're still here. We still have we have to model a shaft opening. Might as well do it in here now that we got our section box nicely cropped in, right? So for that, structure tab, opening, shaft. And now I'm going to use the pick walls tool. And I'll hover over the inside of one. Look, I'm making sure I'm working on the top walls now. I'm not selecting the elevator pit walls. You could if you wanted to, nothing wrong with that. But it's just, as long as you know what you selected, right? So let me hover, tab, click. Now just orbit a little bit and make sure that that actually represents my shaft opening. Before I hit finish, I might as well hit the top button here or the top face of my view cube, and I'll hit symbolic line, thin lines, or whatever your company standard is. And I'll just do a nice little X through here. Okay. And hit finish. And there we go. We got an elevator pit, and now we can see all the nice little layers. Okay. And the good part about taking a model first approach, right? Again, forget the 2D side. Forget the 2D right now. Right now, you are dedicating your time to figuring out how this is going to be built. And just by looking at it, you don't need to go to the 2D. You don't need to cut a section there to verify whether all of that geometry looks correct. We can see it here. Having something in 3D is just much more powerful because it is more of an accurate representation of what's really going to happen in the real world. And we are translators. If you guys get anything from this course, it's that we're translators. Revit is speaking a language that very few people understand. All right. People just see the end product. So you as the user, doesn't matter what your experience level in Revit is, you're the translator. Real world to virtual world, find a workflow that Revit enjoys and you'll be good.